Alright guys, good morning. And today it is Saturday, a little bit later than it should be, and I want to explain what I actually do in the morning because it's all very calculated and meticulous and something I've changed a million times and probably will change another million, but I'll give you guys an update of what I do now when I wake up. So, first things first is I will either get out of bed and immediately make it, or I will get out of bed and immediately go and get water. And that is the first pillar of waking up, is get this jug of water very full. Because one of the biggest reasons that we feel slow or don't have clarity is because of dehydration. And I actually got that from Tate, and it has been something I've done ever since. And then recently I saw a podcast where the co-founder of WAP says the exact same thing. So it seems like it's got kind of like a catching on effect. And I'll be honest, this is like training your discipline. It's not very fun because when you chug a lot of water very quickly, you start to feel like you want to throw up. So immediately after doing that, what I'll do is I will get inside here, and if I hadn't already, the bed gets made. And then now I will just do some quick tidying. I usually have my laptop and notebook pretty close to my bed and that surrounding area where it's not supposed to be over there. So I transfer that over there into the office. And then after that, I will then just jump in the pool like you guys saw me do. When it is sunny out, I do that. If it's not sunny out, I'll have waken up before the sun came up, so I'm not going to get in the pool. I'll just get straight to work. But yeah, that's really the core foundation of the more biological side. Then on the mental side, I do 10 minutes of meditation. Then I do another 5 to 10 minutes of visualization immediately after, so I don't even open my eyes. And then I get my coffee ready. I journal. I go through my little tracker that I do where I track my wake up time, my sleep time, all my stats, a reflection of yesterday. Then I fill out my data for today, and then it is time to get to work. And I'm telling you, that routine, if you don't have one, will give you a lot of, I don't know. It's a very long debate whether you should have a routine or not. And I know so many people that go different ways. And I've gone so many different ways throughout, I guess, my little career that I've had here. So I really don't know if you should follow it or not. I just know for me that's what's worked best. Alright guys, I just had my handoff meeting with my editor. Honestly, I really like this flow that we've got going right now, where I will wake up and then we jump on our meeting. He gets off, I get back on, I work throughout the day. As I get off, he gets on, and then it's just boom. And having the one touch point was good, but having the double time touch points are making it flow like butter when it comes to how we're doing everything. So very happy about that. I still have to start my day. So that is what I'm going to be doing now, is just getting my journaling and everything done. But let me first show you one of the animations that he cooked up. So this is for the hook. And when I say I spent 100 hours on this video, keep in mind the background's going to be changed too. But, and then all of the, oh, you can't hear the audio, but I pretty much said I spent 100 hours researching all those brands, podcast videos, so then it's going to throw all those up on screen. It's going to look awesome when it's done. But now it's time for me to cook up some nice little journaling. Got my coffee, I got my tea, well, this is my coffee, that was my tea. And my goals for today, I have 2 client videos to make go live. And then I have to do chapters 2, 3, an SSD transfer, and I have 1 today. So yeah, that's all. Alright guys, it is 5:40 p.m. and I have just finished chapter number 2's kind of rough B-roll layout to show you guys pretty much what it looks like. Let me get it so it takes up the full screen. This is pretty much what it looks like, and I've pretty much finished it. When it comes to just like placing B-roll, none of the effects. I think it looks really good so far. Just did some peer review with my friend there. And yeah, really happy with it. So that is 1 chapter a day keeps the shitty upload schedule away. is one of my mottos. I want to see if I can push for the 2nd chapter. I've got about 6 more hours until my editor is going to be logging on. So I'm probably going to go for a little run now because the sun's about to set and I just kind of need to reset my creative juices to come up with all the ideas in the next section I'll be editing. But I'm really happy with the progress, and like I kind of spoke about, I'm getting nasty at this editing shit. Come on. And when I say that, I'm not particularly good at effects or anything like that. I just mean the filmmaking elements, the music, and having it come together like a documentary. That's really where my skill set is. And I'll have to compensate by figuring out the visuals, but it really is like I can see the edit in my head, and I just have sometimes trouble putting it into the timeline. So yeah. Alright guys, there's been quite a time lapse. It is 1:11 a.m. right now, and honestly you didn't miss much. I've just been sitting at my desk working, and not that I usually don't do that, but usually I'll like stop and talk to you guys and say some, I don't know, whatever I'm thinking about, but there really wasn't much today. It's always a very cool thing. I had my meeting with my editor, and it's so cool. Let me turn this fan off and go broke on the power bill, utilities and whatnot, but hopefully he tabs in and starts moving it around. But it's always very cool to just see him work, and yeah, just like it's such a cool thing. And usually I'm like well in bed by the time he's like really getting started, but with this new schedule, I kind of like see him boot up for the day, and we have our meeting where now kind of the rhythm we're getting into it with is I'll talk to him about what projects we're working on for that day and kind of what the plan is for executing, and then he has a really clear plan and clarity, and then he kind of hands it back off to me. I determine like, all right, here is, based on what you've done, my goals for today. It holds me accountable to making sure I progress along the videos. And yeah, it's been a really effective change that I've made to the video process, which is really good. Something I wanted to talk about is, maybe you've noticed my background, but I was a very big reader. And I say was because throughout the last maybe 4 or 5 months, I've slowed down, and I'd go in spurts where I read super intensively. When I was living back in Toronto, I had this spurt where I literally read a book a day for, for like a week and a bit, and it was crazy. Like my brain would physically start to hurt, and I have to like drink water to not get headaches because of how much just information and processing power I was using. But before that, one of the biggest things that contribute to me not only achieving the things that I've achieved, and I hate saying that because not only do I not want to sound like a fucking prick, and like holier than thou, but it also like undermines what I'm going to do in the future, because I don't think I've done squat compared to where I'm going. So just take it from a kid talking online, it's helped me a lot when it comes to not only business, but there's so many benefits the more you really read into it. You've got the surface level stuff is you extrapolate information from whatever you're reading about. Cool. And you read great books that teach you great things. Cool. Another level, inspiration. It inspires you to go out and attack certain things, hearing stories that like motivate you. 2. Number 3, it trains your focus, right? Reading stimulates, I think, 4 out of the 5 senses. Maybe the only one it doesn't is the auditorial. Because when you read, your eyes are fixated, you're feeling the pages, and I'm not gonna, just trust me. And then you also are thinking and visualizing it out. It helps your visualization a lot. That's another benefit. Another benefit after that is it improves your speaking and vocabulary and your articulation. That's something that I've received compliments for, and the only thing that I can credit it to is reading, if I am well articulated, because I sure as crap don't talk to a lot of people. It's just reading, you learn how to formulate your sentence, and you even notice that you take on, relative to the author you're reading, their kind of speech. So it gets really funny when I start reading the Bible or any Old English, and I speaketh in the manner where I reapeth what I soweth, and I don't know. Anyways, it's just a Saturday night, and to be honest, guys, this was like the first Saturday night where literally nobody talked to me. Like, not my mom, not my friends, like nobody. Like, I've been sitting here like a maniac. Actually, me and my editor talked. Love her, Sean. He's the only one there for me. No, I'm kidding. But it was interesting, and it led me to the conclusion where I sat there and I was thinking, I've been really dumb the last 3 to 4 months. Really dumb. And I was watching this old video of myself, because if you haven't already and you're weird enough to want to do this, on my main channel there's a whole bunch of videos, and while most of them are just outdated SMMA information at this point, there are a few that are kind of like timeless, and I wish I made more videos where I just talked about what I was thinking and doing, kind of like these, and giving high-level breakdowns, because I watched back this video of mine where I'm talking about pretty much mental discipline in the sense of like controlling your mind and learning how to be. Sorry, I just walked over here because I you didn't see what I'm doing. I'm watching my computer move through. Anyways, I was watching my video and I'm explaining something called the samurai theory that I completely made up, by the way. Like, this was off the fucking dome piece. I was inspired at the time because I was going through Easy Grow, and then also Consulting Accelerator by Sam Ovens, and a few other OG courses. But I made this analogy completely myself, where I'm talking about you've got the mind you've got the soldier, or sorry, I call it the mind is the general, then you got the soldier, then you got the weapon. And to summarize it, your mind or the general needs a goal. Your body or the soldier has to be led by your mind, and you have to treat your body like it's like an idiot soldier and your mind's the leader of it. And then the third one is like talking about weapons. And I use this analogy of explaining like war's definition, which is just conflict by any means. And when we're running a business or doing anything, we're typically at ends with ourselves, challenges, etc. So it's something I've seen a lot of high-level dudes I've met make the comparison between business and war. Now, obviously, war is gruesome, and it's nothing like sitting at your desk, but drawing some of the conclusions over will allow you to operate in a performance mindset, which is like hyper-competitive. I think war is the most competitive kind of versus. And yeah, I'll tell you, I've done fighting and played a decent amount of sports. Business is a lot more competitive than all those. Typically in fighting, the guys are, yes, trying to beat the crap out of each other, but they're following rules. And those rules are agreed upon, and when the fight's over, they usually become buddies. Not buddies, but they agree with themselves. In business, not only do people fucking break the rules, they change the rules, and they screw over their competitor outside of the game being played. Like it's a holistic thing. So I say that because when I use that depiction of war, I defined the weapon as anything you touch in the day. And I like pick up a coffee mug and I'm like, this is a war weapon. And I'm the soldier holding in the general. And it was just so interesting to see how I thought at the time, and I still use that framing to this day, but the underlying lesson that I wasn't able to fully extrapolate is just I need to be reading again, because the level of thoughts that I get and just mental innovations, my brain just works better. And you, as the viewer, like, this is impossible to tell unless you live in my brain, but I have I've just felt like an idiot the last 3 to 4 months. And while I've done great things, breakthroughs, all this stuff, I look at some of these previous videos of mine and I'm watching them and I'm going like, I know this fuck was reading a book a week, and it's like dialed mentally. It's like that's how I'd explain it. Is I've been able to pull off some pretty crazy stuff relative to my channels and what I do before, which is just YouTube. But when it comes to the just pure sharpness and mental acuity, I was watching those old videos, and there's obviously a hazy nostalgia over this, but I love looking back at myself and seeing from a outside lens what I'm thinking, and almost remembering the hunger that I felt during periods and whatnot. Even in this series, it's getting to the point where I can look back at day 1, day 2, first week or so, and there's this specific video where I'm talking about building my studio, and I do it. And when I come to Florida, seeing the studio not built, me talking about going to all the hardware stores, I remember I was freaking out about that. And it wasn't a big deal at all to me now. But there's just all these things. Even with by the time this editing fiasco is done, I'm probably going to get a kick out of watching these videos. And it's looking a lot better now. So that is, I don't know. You guys are my entertainment, just talking to the camera on Saturday night. The reason why I bring this all up is because I'm going to start reading again, and I know I just have an intuitive feeling it's going to do really well for me, because whenever I read, magic just starts happening. it's weird. That was also one of the points that I had. Beyond that, the other thing that I've just been kind of mulling over is, and a question I always constantly have to ask myself is like, am I being an idiot? So I'm going to think out loud here. Just forewarning, if you're still watching at this point and I seem far gone, I'm about to go a lot further. So this is like completely unfiltered talk time. So I am always in this flux of like, what should my goal be? Because while I talk about pulling time horizons back a lot and focusing on the long term, there is this part of me that goes, yeah, but you should make money. And it's almost weird to talk to entrepreneurs or associate with entrepreneurs, because when I sit there and I'm talking to somebody, and it doesn't happen often, but on these situations where I'm sitting down and talking to somebody, and I'm explaining to them, it's like, yeah, I made like $1,000 this month. Not because I wasn't able to sign clients. No, it's because I intentionally declined revenue. And that $1,000 is from my YouTube AdSense, and it's Canadian. It's like $840 US lifetime. But I'm explaining that to them, and I know what I would say if I heard that. I would be like, well, then why are you getting all these views? And there's a logical explanation to it, and I've talked about that a lot. The interesting part is I still struggle with this, because there is it's time to get vulnerable. There is a part of me that does feel pretty darn insecure about running a business, funny enough. It's a trend in my entrepreneurial career, but I don't know how to say this. I'll give you the real world. I have scaled my own business, my little agency, up with a partner, and when I say partner, it was a mentor who was taking the larger chunk of my business, and I was just making money off a minority stake as kind of like a branch of his operation. That was my first business in the agency world. So I had a partner, and in fact a mentor, somebody really far ahead of me to guide me. Then I had my next business partner, Dylan, who you can find a lot about on my channel, and he was the person that I really, because in the mentor dynamic, you kind of just take in the information. It's like, yes, I get it. It's my first year business. So that was cool. But then from years 1 to 3, then for years 2 and 3, Dylan and I are running the information business. And then we also brought on 2 more partners, Mike and Noah, in the latter phase, probably about the last 6 months or so that I was a part of that business. And my overall sentiment is I love all those guys, and I've learned so many lessons from them, so many. And I honestly owe it to sit down and articulate what each of those might be, because honestly I need to reach out to them. I haven't talked to them in a good 4 or 5 months, and you keep tabs on people, see what they're up to, but I really haven't talked to them, and I definitely should, because they've been highly impactful.
on the way I think, the way I do business. And they're also the people that know me the best. And that's a double-edged sword, right? It can be know me the best in the sense of giving me actionable and critical advice, knowing how I think. And I've got friends who do a really great job of that. My roommate in Toronto, Rayon, is a perfect example of that. When him and I talk, he understands viscerally just how I am as a person so well that I'll say something that usually I'd be able to just like bullshit past the average person. Not even intentionally, by the way. And he'll call it and he'll go like, no, you're like, stop. That's dumb. So there's so much that you can extrapolate from some of these people, and they can give me that grounded perspective, but they could also give me a perspective that limits where I can go, right? And that's not a bad thing. That can be, for example, if you look at the crossover dynamic to like parents, that's a very beneficial thing. That's why kids don't like end up jumping in a pool and like not being able to swim. I don't want to YouTube terms of service here, but I really want to wrap this into a point by saying this is also another great person, Zach, and on the like such a small chance that you ever see this, it's like that dude really profoundly shaped the way I think. Never business partners, never did any ventures, never really transacted outside of him buying me dinners when he didn't have to. He definitely changed the way I think. But needless to say is that I've been somebody who's been supported and kind of a shadowy figure while running a business for the majority of time that I've been running a business, almost all of the time. And while I do the contrary and I'm actively, like I'm sitting alone with a camera in my backyard on a Saturday night, I'm doing the contrary right now. But because of that, the idea of like running a publicly faced business where I'm actively promoting it and marketing is genuinely something I've never done when I really think about it. I have peddled products in DMs, but when it comes to like me sitting down to record an ad, maybe I've spent like $1,000 on it. Now other people's faces on ads, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or other people's faces on content. CTA, like, this is what we do, boom, boom, boom. And on back of my old channel, that's actually wrong, because I did actually CTA quite a bit in that content and talk about what I did, and I wore it on my chest. But it's something I've been so bad at with kind of running ventures on my own, is you wouldn't, like everybody I talk to, again, very small sample size, they don't even know what I do. It's so, I kind of took it as like frustrating, but it really is just a reflection of this problem. Just like, you probably, if you're actively watching this and I have not improved this problem at some point in the future, near or far, you probably like still don't actually know what I do. Like, what do I? Okay, so you see me sit here working today, but like, what am I actually doing? What's going on? What am I operating? And that's been something that plagued me for such a long time. Is first off on the content end. Now, I think I'm pretty confident when I sit down and tell people now. It's like, yeah, I run a media company. That's it. I make YouTube videos. When it comes to the personal branch, I've got business channel, main channel, this channel. Cool. Then, on the business end, I'm not actually sure. I really don't know. Because if I say, all right, I run a done for you YouTube agency, well, that could be true, but like the thing where I know what's gonna go on there is I will make enough money to where, not make my money, like I'll onboard enough customers to where it becomes a detractor from what I do here. Like I'll start missing vlogs, or I will have the quality drop on my main channel. And while I like the business me one shoulder, like creative on the other, business me argues, well, that's just because you haven't done a good enough job building a team, leverage, etc. systems. The creative side says you're still new to this. And when I say new, I mean anything sub 10 years. It's like, you gotta earn your stripes, buddy. You're still new to this. You should be in the trenches doing these things. And if I just keep my head down and keep getting better, I can, instead of running a done for you agency, just go straight to the informational product. And while like I could easily give myself an answer and just say like, oh, I've got to make the lines clear and I do done for you and done with you offerings, it's been something where I think what will solve this problem for me is I need to actually build a product, because that's something I love doing. For the entire time I was running my info business, I was the product guy, and admittedly there were some lessons where I think the first rendition of the product I built, called the First Client Challenge, was the best product I've ever made. I think after that, the consulting product that I made was fucking trash compared to the First Client Challenge. And there's a plethora of reasons for that. Some of them are like conditionally scale, how fast it happened, all this stuff. But I remember the golden days where I'd be sitting and I built this Discord server. And when I say I, like myself, my partner, Dylan, we built this Discord server. I was like the tech of like, oh, the tickets, the dynamics of how it works, like all that. He was more like the information of like, hey, here's how to do this side. We were able to take somebody from Pakistan, Russia, Ukraine, people, and they were teenagers, people that would otherwise not have gotten their first free trial client, and we had an 81% success rate when somebody made it past the 4th level in our program, which for context only took about 2 hours of work to get there. I think our total success rate was 31% on a $100 product, and past people that technically got through the onboarding, 81% success. Like, it was nuts. And it was an electric community. It was crazy. And it was just so fun to run. So I think the solution, again, me speaking out loud here, is I have to build another product that I feel the same way about. And the question now is just, am I ready to do that yet? Now, with the First Client Challenge, the reason why we were ready to do it is because we just picked a small problem to solve. And I very well could do that with this. I remember seeing these ads where somebody said, hey, I'll set up, it was a low ticket, kind of like Tripwire, OTO kind of thing. And they were saying, oh, I'll give you your ideal content setup. Immediately install this content studio. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting. You're solving like a very small problem here. And it opened me up to the ranges of different problems to solve, right? There's a guy that I know, I don't personally know him, but he makes good money doing YouTube script writing, and there's a good amount of people like that. And for myself, I think is like, well, script writing is like a very minor part of a YouTube video. Like, who would buy that, right? Any business owner I know is like, yeah, you can hire a script writer, but you still need thumbnail idea, visual editing, all that. Like, the script is like, to be honest, if you nail everything else, you don't really need that good of a script. In most cases, like, to be brutally transparent, like, if you got a good hook, you earn the viewer's attention. And I'm not going to get into YouTube talk, but my point is that he solves like a very small problem at a high efficiency. That's what the first client challenge did too. That's also what Hyros by Alex Becker did. And I think that's a great example, because this is a guy that spent millions on ads, made millions back, and he was the GOAT of internet marketing ads of his era. Now, there was Ty and there was Sam and all these guys as well, but I have to like brush up on my timeline. Alex Becker, he had a heyday before Sam, and he also had one after Sam, and he's still crushing it. So I mean, he's yet to hit his prime, probably. But the thing is that he could have very well acted like a head honcho and said, I'm gonna make this crazy AI everything platform, build a private equity portfolio. Like, he could have gone and acted like he was king shit of all existence when it came to ads. And he went, no, he's like, I'm gonna become the best at one thing in the ads game. Tracking. Just became like a killer at, like, so good at tracking. Knows everything about it. And if you look at his videos while he's building Hyros, he'll sit down and say, I think I'm the biggest ads tracking expert in the world. Maybe there's one other guy. And if I had to guess, that would be the founder of Triple Web. That being said, I've been thinking about, with my YouTube and product building and all this stuff, is maybe I'm reaching too far wide to try and be full service. And I just need to say to people, hey, I will solve your... And I just think about, like, okay, what's the most painful problem to solve in the game of YouTube that people will pay for? There's actually a software, RevTrack, which is just similar to Hyros, except niche down for YouTubers, which is an example of that. It's more for like coaches and business owners attributing revenue to funnels off YouTube. It's got interesting tech. I don't think they have like a big moat yet, but they have a great marketing play behind it. Let me think. The way that I probably see that playing out is, first off, editing. Editing is not something that I particularly think I'm good at in the YouTube process, and it's also something that I don't enjoy managing for others. It's not very fun. I'll sit down and edit my own stuff, but it's also the 80% of work that really does lead to 20% of the results of a video. And while, like, sorry, I hate to say that because it's not true, okay? There's a difference between editing and like storytelling. There are editors that will genuinely transform footage. There are people like that. I'm not saying those people are not valuable. What I'm saying, though, is that when like a biz op coach or the average person paying an agency sits down and just like yaps about whatever they do for 15 minutes, it's like, you're not gonna cut that into a narrative masterpiece. You're literally just adding like dopamine filler to whatever this viewer is watching. And that's just the brutal truth. Like, it is what it is. That's the human brain. So I say that because I don't want to do an editing solution. Even right now, the part of my business that drives me the craziest is editing. Now, I love the people that I currently do editing for. I wouldn't do editing for somebody that pisses me off, to be honest. Like, I just can't look at your face and cut this up. I don't like outsourcing editing because the way that I work with people, I try and recommend people what's going to help them actually become a good creator. And sometimes it's posting volume. Managing volume posting while outsourcing editors, like, you might as well, like, I've tried it, you might as well just not fun. Not fun. So definitely not an editing solution. Script writing solution, there's potential. I enjoy writing YouTube scripts a lot. I think I do a great job of writing YouTube scripts for my content, but then I also understand most business, like most biz ops, to the point where I can also write a good script. Like, this is something that has always bothered me too, but I've had agency clients that are like guys that have run agencies or whatever. No, not even agencies, because it's been other stuff too, but I've pretty much had people that I'll give them a script about something, and I'll write in what I think, hey, you should do this way, this that way, and they'll go, oh, I change this, or they change it, and I'm like, okay, fair, whatever. I disagree with you on a business front, but then saying, oh, well, I have like etc knowledge, and sometimes I just sat there and thought, because there's been some situations where somebody's telling me they're an expert in something, where if we look track record, I have achieved more than you at that thing and it's just like I'm the person making a YouTube video here, so it's your channel, whatever. But I do think that is an advantage I have in script writing, is my point. Next thing is title, thumbnail. I really can see myself doing well here. Thumbnail designers don't make a lot. People that come up with ideas, titles, and thumbnails, that could make you a pretty penny. So pretty much what I can run is like an ideation, packaging, and script agency, which is not a new idea. I've been thinking about that for a long time. I just need to build out and articulate what that looks like into product form for my own sake, not even for a customer's sake, because I can just do everything done for you and I don't need a deck or any tangible assets built. But I think it does give the validity in my mind, because that's been something holding me back from just selling ruthlessly, just like really get it going out there and selling and having an application form or an opt-in and selling and collecting client payments and all that stuff. So I just talked myself through to a solution, and yeah, looking good. So let's talk implementables. I think having a application opt-in is a great idea for what I do. Direct book a call is like good, but it's just not conversion optimized, and yeah, like if I can get leads and I'm willing to call them, it's whatever, I don't mind. Also, I am the kind of person where I don't like scheduling calls. Like if I'm scheduling calls with somebody, I'm paying them. So I like opt-ins in that sense, because I know a lot of people are like that as well, and just genuinely just don't like calls. Now, a call with the founder is different, which people will be getting when they work with me, but I don't know, still kind of rubs me the wrong way. Then the last implementable is, I mean, not last, I guess I have to do the ops work. Then after that, something I've been thinking about, and I'm gonna really be, I guess, just not stress testing, but seeing how it plays out is, sorry, look at the stars, guys. I don't know if this camera picks it up well. Maybe I need like a specific lens. But if my new editing process with my editor works the way that I intend it to, I think that there is potential for me to ramp up the uploads on the business channel, at least temporarily. And the reason why I say that is because I have 4 guys backlogged. I have Mosey, Iman, TJR, and Brez. And I also already made the business video for Rob the Bank. So I have all these guys that I can use to kind of do my initial push of my product and get a lot of attention to it. And then also just have the funnel back work the way it's intended to. So if it does turn out, like, here's my ideal day, is I wake up around 8 a.m. That's just with my editor waking up at 4 a.m. until I can have a literal second computer. What makes the most sense. It also, because even if I have a second computer, it doesn't make sense. I have a second computer. That sleep schedule makes the most sense because it's the opposite of his, which means that I get to work while he's asleep, which is actually very important. So I wake up around 8 a.m. and he's gonna log off around 12 to 1. So then I have 4 hours to work. So like deep work. And that can be prepping the next video. So for us, that would be Alex G is going to be the next person I make a video on. So doing that while he's editing, and after that, that can be business, like client stuff. But no, actually, sorry. I don't want that to be client stuff. I want that to be like working on videos. After that, so from 8 till, or 9 when I get on my computer, till 12 I get like a little 3-hour deep work session, knock out anything I need to do on the business end, operational wise, and just doing deep work on a video, thumbnail, etc. I have my team meeting with Urshad, go over everything, then I have him log off. I log in to do editing, and then I edit for another 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever's needed for that specific project. And then after that, I go for my run. I do a little bit more operational work in that kind of evening block. I guess no, I should be doing the client work first thing in the morning, because I don't need my computer for that. I can just do it on my laptop and get it out nice and easy. After that, I do my workout, and then after that I go and do some more touch-up work, editing, thumbnail, whatever comes to mind. Then I start winding down, probably read, and then I have my end of day meeting at 11:30 Eastern. Then I go to bed, do it all again. So that's kind of, I have to edit and upload this vlog is actually what I probably do during that time. So that's kind of the dream schedule and everything. My thing is I have to figure out what I can do in that 3 to whatever hours every day that supports my goals of building what I want to build here. And product wise, I think honestly it's like I don't want to go conspiracy. I was gonna say it's like I literally just want to make an amount of money every month to where I can justify extremely bad financial decisions on gear. That's like that. By the way, that's the only reason I want to run the business end. When it comes to like personal savings and everything, I don't give it a darn. At least at this age. Like, yeah, have your investment principles, have like an auto exit on your account, a certain amount every month, week, whatever. But I really do truly believe in like, this is a season for me to double down, and I am investing, just not into an asset. Like I'm not leveraging the capital asset in the investment compound sense. I'm doing it in like the gear sense, right? You tell me $20,000 in the stock market or cinema camera, and we're gonna have some 8K videos. Like we're going, we're not saving that. Now, obviously, being responsible, paying taxes, and living enough, or leaving enough for living, but that's cheap. That's like $1,000, maybe $2,000 a month. So yeah, that is where I stand on the day end and the business end. And to be honest, it's actually comical what I end up doing in order to run it. Like, that business probably only needs to cash flow at like 20, 30, 50,000 a month. I don't think I need a funnel to do that. That could literally be as simple as like just making an effort to reach out to people in my network, do sales, ask for referrals, and message people on Instagram, which is an interesting insight. But the reason I do want to do it through a funnel is because it proves it's a POC, proof of concept, for the longevity of my brand actually getting sales off the views, which is why I'm pulling the slingshot so far back to focus on becoming a master at content in the first place. Okay, I've talked for a long time. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these long, big files put into the vlog. I'm gonna read. I'm probably gonna read the book, The Psychology of Money. I had been meaning to read it, and it was between that and the biography of Hannibal. Rome's worst enemy is what he was called, and I know about his story a bit already. It's actually really cool what he did. The reason I know about his story is because I already read the book. Fuck, I forgot I read it already. Alright, maybe not. I'll just read The Psychology of Money. No, I'll have to read Napoleon or Churchill. I have those two biographies that I haven't read yet. I also have, what's his name? Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase. And then I also have Steven Schwartzman, which is BlackRock or Blackstone. I forget which one. I think it was Blackstone. He broke off partners with Finkelberg or Goldstein. Well, I forget what his name is. But the other co-founder. So I'm gonna read one of those, and I appreciate anybody. You're really weird if you got it through this far. Like got through this far in the video. I'm really tired too now. But I'm gonna implement some of these solutions for sales funnel, product, all this stuff. And yeah, good day. Not much else to say. I'm going crazy. I'm going to bed. I don't know, why do I even have this thing on?